Netflix's classic A Horror Story is a gruesome tale where most of our main characters end up dead due to some classic horror movie mistakes. Have you ever wondered what you would do if you were stuck in a similar position? Well, worry not, because in today's video, we're going to teach you how to beat a classic horror story and come out of it alive and well and very pretty. So let's get into it. First of all, please choose your traveling buddies carefully. Who travels with strangers? People in horror movies, of course. In the beginning of the movie, we see Elisa use a ride-sharing app to carpool to her parents' home in Calabria to get an abortion, and she ends up with a bunch of people she doesn't even know. The RV she boards is driven by a travel blogger called Fabrizio, and she's also accompanied by a doctor called Ricardo, as well as a pretty extroverted couple, Mark and Sophia. Let's just say our characters would never have been in this position if they'd been just a little bit more careful about who they were traveling with, or hell, if they've done maybe more research on their driver. So hey, if you ever have to travel overnight, either go with friends or family, or just go alone. It's way safer than traveling with potential serial killers and cult members. Never ever drink and drive. Whether you're in a horror movie or not, just please don't drink and drive. It's dangerous for yourself, for your friends, for everybody on the road. Also, don't accept drinks offered by strangers. The night our characters are traveling, they drink beer from inside the RV, and they are obviously passed out when things start to go wrong. Mark foolishly takes control of the wheel while he's drinking a beer, and obviously they crash into a tree. He doesn't see a dead goat lying in the middle of the road, and Fabrizio quickly swerves to avoid it, and the group ends up in a pretty serious accident. Never would have happened if our characters stayed alert. Mark would have seen the goat in plenty of time, and he would have been able to stop the car before things went south. Again, kids, PSA, don't drink and drive. It's really just not worth it. Also, please never ever take drinks offered by strangers. Just gonna slip that one in there again. Okay, so you crashed. What next? The way the group acted after the crash was nothing short of ridiculous. They could have handled things way better than they did. When the gang wakes up, they find themselves in a clearing surrounded by a forest, and they can't explain how they got there. Mark is seriously injured, and the rest of them were all asleep leading up to the event, and they can't remember anything. Maybe, just maybe, you were drugged, guys. So, first, recall the events of the night leading up to the crash and focus on why something like this might have happened. Think about why you can't remember anything and what could have altered your state of mind. If the group had just analyzed Fabrizio's decision to swerve the car, they might have realized that he was setting them up sooner. It was a dead goat. Driving over it would have been way safer than what he ended up doing. If they had blamed Fabrizio for what he'd done sooner, they could have escaped in time. And if they thought more about how they couldn't remember anything, they might have realized, hey, they'd been drugged. In short, sit down, talk it out, have a powwow. Next up, always let your friends know where you're going and for how long. If you're going to be looking for signs of civilization, just don't wander off. Tell your group members where you're going and how long it's going to take. Also, try not to get lost. It might sound stupid, but it's easy to get overconfident and assume that you're going to find your way back. What you can do is you can mark trees so that you can easily find your way back to your partners and you won't lose yourself in the forest. Make a list of survival items that you need. You're stuck in a forest with a bunch of strangers under mysterious and suspicious circumstances, and you don't really know what to do. Well, the first thing you should do is make a list of everything that you will need in order to survive. And this basically means anything that can be used as weapons, wood, food, anything that's going to help you make it through the ordeal. Basic survival. Which brings us to our next instruction. Specify roles for group members. One other very important thing you can do if you're stuck in a situation like this is to share the workload. Everyone should have different roles working towards the same goal of getting out of this troublesome situation. For example, in this movie, some characters of the movie should have focused on finding a way out, while the rest should have started to look for water and other supplies. One of the group members should have also been assigned to the role of looking out for any potential dangers. Of course, don't forget to use your phones. Yeah, you're not getting internet signals. That's fine. You can still use the inbuilt compass inside your smartphones to at least try to find a way out. It can help you know where you're going. You can also, prevent you from getting lost. For some reason, the characters in the movies didn't use this function at any single point. Maybe don't leave your wounded friend alone. When some characters find a cabin and go inside, they find some pretty creepy and gory visuals. All of them except Mark, and in our opinion, at least one of them should have stayed behind with their heavily wounded friend. Inside the cabin, they find a girl who's trapped inside a cocoon of hay, and her tongue has been mutilated. Now, this isn't a major red flag. I really don't know what you're looking for. The group should have realized that she was surrounded by twigs, and they could have easily removed them and ran away. At this point, the group should have realized that this wasn't a normal situation. They should just run or not be there. This entire situation was screaming setup. And of course, the next thing that happens is some mass masked men bring Mark inside the cabin and execute him in front of everyone. The whole group witnesses the incident from a creek in the attic. They were obviously extremely frightened and they tried to escape, but they kept reaching the same point, and they eventually came to the realization that they were moving in circles. Also, if you're going inside of a house to find resources, go during the day. Never, ever go in the middle of the night. Be more proactive during the day instead of sleeping and reminiscing. Try to help your friend. In our opinion, if your friend's getting executed in the most horrifying manner possible, do not just sit there and watch. This poor guy, his eyes were getting gouged out, his feet were getting broken by a wooden hammer, and his friends were just watching him. They could have, I don't know, cooperated, tried to fight the masked men. Yeah, we know they looked scary, but, Mark deserves a chance, you know? And now, time to make weapons. After the three men drag Mark's body out and leave the cabin, the group waits inside until dawn. They free the girl quite easily, obviously something they hadn't considered doing previously for some unexplainable reason. Then they leave the cabin and go outside, where they find a bunch of cars and discover that they weren't the first victims of this creepy cult. Here our group should have been, just 10% smarter and tried to find potential weapons to use. For example, they could have used the windshield wipers, engine parts, other items scattered around that definitely would have helped them out. But do they do anything like that? Yeah, no, they don't. Focus on the clues. The mutilated girl reveals her name to Elisa, and we find out that she's called Chiara. She also tells Elisa that this isn't a forest. Now, the group should have come together and discussed, hey, what does that mean? This is a major clue, and they just don't follow up on it at all. Rookie move. Finally, maybe don't leave all your food and supplies in the camper. When the group eventually circles back to the clearing, they find that their camper is gone. At this point, they're extremely devastated because all their food and supplies have disappeared right alongside with it. The smart thing to do would be to pack up all the important things and carry them with you if you're moving away from your campsite. Leaving your RV unattended in a mysterious clearing is a surefire way to get yourself robbed and into even more trouble. Nevertheless, at the end of the movie, all of them die except for Elisa because she finally realizes that Fabrizio was the one setting them up all along and acts pretty smartly afterwards. We're really glad. At least she made it out. In short, the group could have done so many different things differently and they all would have survived. If you're ever stuck in a situation like this, follow our tips and increase your chances of getting out unscathed. And that's a wrap for this video. What would you do to survive if you were in this gruesome situation? Please let us know in the comment section below. As always, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. And I'll see you in the next one. Adios.